Hey, Sweat Sisters. Welcome to the Pretty Girl Sweat Show, which highlights women who are balancing demanding careers with a healthy lifestyle and hurdling over personal and professional obstacles. I'm your host, Aeshia DeVore Branch, and each week I have a sister-to-sister chat with an inspiring go-getter, and listeners learn how good things come to those who sweat. If this is your first time listening, what up? You could be anywhere in the world and you're here with me, and I really appreciate that. If you love what you hear, take a second to subscribe to the podcast so you get updates every time we drop a new episode. If you got half a second, leave a rating, which will help other Sweat Sisters in need of inspiration find our podcast. If you have a minute, please follow us across all social media platforms. We are at Pretty Girl Sweat on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and YouTube. Use the hashtag PrettyGirlSweat when sharing this episode. And if you have 5 minutes, please leave a review and let us know how we're doing. On episode 31 of the Pretty Girl Sweat Show, the Queen of Abs, Santia Deck, stops by. As a certified trainer and social media influencer with over 300,000 loyal and engaged followers, the former track and field collegiate athlete recently made history by becoming the highest paid woman to play professional football, signing a multi-million-dollar deal with the WFLA. Santia is also a published author, a fitness model, TV personality, social media consultant, public speaker, and a TV host. Born in Greenville, South Carolina, and raised in Houston, Texas, she has been running after her dream of success since childhood. Tune in to learn how Santia inspires others with her determination. Welcome to the Pretty Girl Sweat Show.
Thank you.
I'm excited to speak with you. I have so many questions, so many things on my mind, as well as our followers. They are definitely inspired by your journey, but want to know more. So I'm excited to speak with you to kind of get those details. And there's no better place to start than at the beginning. So if you could tell us about young Santia, how was it for you growing up?
Sure. So growing up, I grew up in a very loving home. I was literally pretty much born athletic. I remember when me and my twin brother went for like our 2-year checkup. I remember the doctor had told my mom that we like had the body of runners. So he wanted my mom to put us in track when we got old enough, which was around 7 years old. And, from there we ran track I ran track from 7 years old up until I was 23. So I ran through college. I tried to go pro and things like that. But I grew up very much a tomboy. Like I said, I had a twin brother. I had 2 other brothers that I grew up with. My older sister was always a lot older than me, so she was always kind of out the house. So I really didn't get, a lot of time to kind of grow up with her in the house. So I was literally doing everything my brothers were doing, going to their Pee Wee football practices sometimes. When they had summer camps, I was always out there too, doing what the boys were doing. So, I was like literally from the time I was 4 years old, I was out there doing everything that the boys were doing. And my first sport was actually at 4 years old, and I played tennis. And a lot of people don't know that, but that was my first sport.
Yeah, I didn't know that. See, this is why we have these conversations. Okay,
Yeah.
you and your brothers were born with track bodies. So did your parents play sports, or did they run track?
So my dad didn't play any sports at all, but my mom, she was athletic. She ran track when she was like in, I think, high school or something, but that was about it.
Oh, okay. All right. What about healthy eating? Was that a part of your childhood too?
So it was actually pretty interesting when I tell people this story, because so me and my twin brother, we were very like health conscious at a very young age. I remember when we first started running track at 7, when we were like 8 or 9 years old, we were like, you know what, we're going to stop eating candy and stop drinking soda so that we can be like the best athletes we can be. And so like at 9 years old, we like literally went cold turkey and stopped drinking soda and juices and things like that. And ever since then, I haven't been doing that. So we grew up in a very healthy home, but we had our times where we were eating like the pork chops and all the other stuff that everybody used to eat. But we kind of did that on our own just because we were so in love with track. We wanted to be the best.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, can you please give that mentality to my kids? Oh my God. Oh. Okay, so what about fitting in with your peers? You being an athlete, was there ever, a situation where you felt like you just couldn't connect with your peers, or were you immediately like a part of your peer group?
It was a very unique situation with me because, and even to this day, like it's very rare that I meet people that are like me at all. Um, I had two friends that unfortunately they both passed away. One passed away in college, the other passed away when I was in middle school. But those were my best friends, and they were the only two people that I've ever ran into that were anything like me. But I was also a very popular kid, which is kind of weird because I didn't fit in, if that makes sense. Like I was that kid that was just super athletic. It's so much so athletic that I was doing things like I would go to school early to do bleachers and run track and run a mile, before the lights came on at the school or whatever. And I was staying after practice, lifting extra weights, doing all these things that my friends at that time, because I was in middle school and high school, they're like, well, all right, what are you doing? What is the point? And I used to always say I want to go to the Olympics. That was my goal since I was like in elementary school. So I was always sacrificing my summers because I ran summer track and I had trainers and things like that. So I didn't have like the, you know, pool days and everything. Like I had a few of those, but my summers mostly when I think about my childhood, it was summer track. Like my parents sitting in like 110-degree weather in the bleachers watching me and my twin brother run track. That was like our summers. And so, I was definitely a lot more disciplined, and I think for my friends and stuff, they didn't understand me, but they loved me. I was like that different kid, but I was so different that it was like cool. I guess I don't know how to explain it because I was really popular, but I did my own thing. Like I didn't when I saw kids getting bullied, I was that kid that would be like, "Hey, stop! We're not doing that today." So I'd always take up for kids. I was always a yes ma'am, no sir kid. And I remember like the lunch ladies would always look at me like, why are you and your brother so polite? And but we were raised with manners and discipline and treat the janitor like the CEO. We grew up like that. And so it was hard to fit in because I saw things differently than most kids, but I was also a very social kid to where like I still had a lot of friends. So it was like a very weird, I don't know how to explain it. It's very weird.
Very awesome. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, your parents obviously did a great job raising you all. Do you feel like you can, credit them 100% for this,
Oh yeah.
Okay, no other inspirations in your life that kind of pushed you to be so determined?
Well, you know what? Another unique thing about me that I always say, and I think this even goes beyond my parents. I grew up a very spiritual child. Like I was very much into my faith at a eerily young age. Like when I was like 5 and 6, I understood who Christ was, and I remember like I wouldn't lie. Well, I mean, I did lie when I was a kid sometimes, but I wouldn't do certain things that most kids would do because I'd be like, "Oh, God's watching." We was one of those type of kids, me and my twin brother. So I definitely give credit to my Savior because I knew Him so young that I feel like that is why I've been able to stay on such a straight and narrow path. And even when I fell off, I was able to get back on because I just had that type of faith. So I credit my parents for obviously introducing me to Christ too. So you know, they both, I guess both of those influences for sure.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, your coaches, or one coach in particular that helped you kind of whether you were an athlete and even when you weren't an athlete, something that they told you or some kind of push that they gave you that helped you in your life. Tell us about that person.
So I have to give credit definitely to my high school coach, Coach Roberson. He was very, very tough on me, and I never understood why until he told me one day, and it all made sense. But I remember the one story that motivated me, and I always think about when times get hard, or when I'm training and I don't want to train, or I'm tired or whatever. I remember when I was in high school. I remember we were running like 400s, and I'm not a 400 runner, but he always expected me to win. So I remember we were at practice, and I remember I had did like two 400s, and I was so tired, but I was winning. I won both both races or whatever. And I remember I was like walking in the back of like my group that I ended up beating, And I remember he came up to me and said, let me ask you a question. Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? And I was like, I want to be great. He was like, okay, if you want to be great, I don't ever want to see you walking behind anybody. I don't care how tired you are. You always need to lead because that's what leaders do. That's what winners do. They're always in front. And so ever since that day, I don't care how tired I am, I'm gonna make sure that I'm walking in front of everybody when I'm training, when I score a touchdown. I'm gonna make sure I run back to the huddle first or whatever, because I just have that mentality. Like, that's what greatness is. You're doing things that other people aren't doing. You know, you're doing things that other people can't do. And then the second person I have to give credit to is my LFL coach. He told me something that I use in business now forever, and I always will. We were sitting in at one of our meetings, our football meetings, and he was like, remember, even if this football stuff doesn't work, remember this one thing I'm going to tell you guys. He said, don't ever let the game use you, use the game. And ever since, like, and I understood that quote so much, because it's like there's so many athletes that when they leave from their sports, their bodies are done, their minds are done, and some of them leave broke. Some of them have nothing to fall back on. Some of them didn't build a business or build anything that they can pass down to their kids. And so, like, for me, like, I'm doing something that's really hard because I'm a current athlete, but I'm also a business owner. And so, like, but I believe in using that time that you're in a game to your advantage too. Don't just let the game take everything from you. So I use that, every single day in business.
Speaking of business, and it kind of leads me back to education. When did you make the decision to go to Texas A&M University?
So I actually, I had moved from Houston to Atlanta my senior year in high school. So I wasn't happy. I was actually really mad at my parents because I was graduating with strangers. And I remember I wanted to go back to Texas. And my parents were like, well, if you want to go back to Texas, you better have a great track season and get a scholarship to Texas. And I remember that my senior year was probably my best year in track ever. And I did end up getting a scholarship to Texas A&M Kingsville. And also, I mean, just being honest, my boyfriend was there. And so that also influenced me to go too. But I can say that I'm happy that I made that decision because I graduated on time. I made a lot of great friends, and it was a smaller college. So I didn't have the distractions of going to Texas A&M, which I could have went to, but I was a girl in love, thought I was going to get married, blah, blah, blah. And I just followed my boyfriend. But at the end of the day, it paid off anyway because I got my degree, and I still have my friends, and I made a lot of great people.
All right. We always do ask that question because we ask the question about relationships in college because sometimes that can really impact like your future, right? So
yeah.
Well, I'm glad for you. It did work out the right way.
It did.
Okay, good. All right, so when you got to school your freshman year, what did you hope, when you graduated, kind of what your fate or your destiny or your future would be like?
Man, going into college, I was super green. I was very sheltered as a kid. So I saw a lot of things that I wasn't used to seeing. But when I went in there, of course, I told myself I was going to graduate in 4 years. And secondly, I wanted to make sure that I could go professional, be a professional track runner. And unfortunately that didn't happen, but that led me to something even greater. And I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I feel like track and field prepared me for where I'm at now. And I always credit track because I feel like that's my edge. My speed is always going to be the reason why, I'm successful in whatever I do, because I feel like that's the way God built me. So, it didn't work out that way. And I definitely didn't think I was going to come out of college being an entrepreneur. I went into college thinking I was going to be like a counselor or something like that. And I actually ended up doing one thing that I wanted to do after college, but I did it in college. I wrote a book. So I wrote my book when I was in high school and got it published when I was in college. And it's actually still in my college's bookstore, and it's on Amazon right now. So I actually did something while I was in school. So, things work out.
They do. What would you say was the biggest risk you've ever taken for your career? Was it being an entrepreneur?
Oh man, I'm gonna try to break this story down because I think this is like the defining moment of my life. So I'm not going to say any names, but when I was in college, I had a coach that wasn't so fond of me. To this day, I still don't know why. But I remember when I went to practice the first day of track practice in college, and he said, "Well, what do you want to do? What is your goal?" I said, "I want to be an Olympian." He like laughed at me. And I was just like, okay. And so we always had this weird, strained relationship because I just felt like he was always picking on me. And I don't know if it was because I was just like a really, really nice person and I didn't talk back or I didn't do anything like that. And everybody else kind of did. I don't know if he just found me like I don't know. I was an easy target. I don't know. I really don't know. But anyways, I remember my senior year of college, I ended up having to make a decision on going to nationals in the 4x1 and hopefully winning a national championship for him in a team and everything, or starting my business. And my mom said, your film date is on the same day that nationals is, so you have to kind of figure out which one you want to do. And to be honest, I wasn't that fond of him. And I was like, I don't want to win a championship for him when I could be going and starting my life as an adult. And I remember I went to his office and I said, "Hey, coach, I just want to tell you that I'm in a position to start my business, my life, or go to nationals. And unfortunately, both of these opportunities are on the same date. And I'm going to end up choosing to go home so that I can start my business." And I remember he laughed at me. And he was like, "Wow, you're going to have to do something really great in life to make up for this. And I'm pretty sure you won't."
Wow.
And oh my gosh, he just did not know that he lit a fire under me. Because when I left, I that same year, I filmed a talk show. I had a DVD come out. I went on tour for a fitness tour. I did all these things, and I remember I came back like 2 years later, and I saw him, and it was very awkward. It was very awkward, and he was like, "Wow, I heard you doing some pretty big things in life," and I was like, "Yeah, you told me I wouldn't," and that was it. And I just walked away.
Would you
And
say that was your proudest moment? Kind of
oh man, yeah, that was probably because I even to this day I still have a chip on my shoulder because I just felt like I have to show him like you really messed up when you said that to me, and I use that like I use him as almost like a stepping stone. And he just made me into this hungry animal to just do everything that I want to do despite what anybody tells me. And that's just my mentality now. So I thank him. Yeah. I mean, I thank him for that, to be honest.
Yeah. He definitely lit that fire. That was awesome. Wow, what a story. Okay, so being an entrepreneur, being an athlete, you have to be smart about money. So how are you smart about your money? This is a big issue for everyone. We all struggle.
Yeah. Oh man. You know what? It took me a while to get to a point to where I was smart with money. When I definitely graduated from college, I was just like, we don't understand a lot of stuff. When we first graduate, we still think we just live in this bubble. Mm-hmm. But I think me getting hit by the real world and realizing, okay, I have to manage my money to live. And to survive. And then I'm all about generational wealth. So like I always believe in, saving so that I can have something to give to my kids and having more assets and things like that. So I think as I've gotten older and having my mom as my manager, I have a CPA, an attorney, and all these great people around me, they've helped to develop me into somebody that's also conscious about my spending habits and how to invest and things like that. So I think starting my business young is a really big reason why I understand money the way I do now. So I do feel like you need to have some type of mentor or someone that's guiding you when you are on that process of making money and trying to grow as a business and things like that. And I just was lucky that I had a great team around me.
Now, from college to this point, which we're about to discuss, how many years has it been until you made history as the highest paid female football player?
Oh, it's been 6 years.
Wow.
6 years in the making. So I tell people all the time because I don't think people understand how much I had to go through to get to this point, even beyond college, just even in my childhood, the disappointments, the not making it to the championships, to being almost there. And then something happened. And I was always that kid that worked so hard, harder than anybody else. And I just was never good enough, or I always got injured, so I never got to my full potential. And so I used to see my brothers, like my brothers were blessed with amazing talents as well. Like my little brother never ran track in his life. First year he ran, he got a gold medal.
Wow.
My twin brother won nationals, twice. And I was always the one that was like, oh, she's almost there. She's almost there. She got injured. So I was always the one that just didn't make it, but I worked so hard. And so, like, if people understood how much I had to pick myself up off the ground, because I was like defeated all the time. And I still continued to go to track practice, and I still continued to come back the next year despite everything happening. And so this is a really big victory for me, not just because of the amount of the contract or making history, but because I did not give up. I didn't give up ever. As much as I wanted to, I just couldn't. It was something that was just inside of me that made me want to keep going, and I didn't know what it was until now. And it took way over 6 years for me to get to this point. But I'm just thankful that God, he lit a fire in me that I couldn't put out even if I wanted to, because it's beyond me. So I don't know. It's still very surreal. I still get teary-eyed when I think about it, because my journey is just, it was insane. But I'm just thankful that I'm here.
What do you hope for the future of the league that you're in, compared to men's, professional football? How do you hope that the role you're playing in this league is going to kind of set the stage for other female football players in the future?
Well, with this league, I know that this is definitely going to change the whole structure of women's sports, period, outside of football, because I think we're setting the such a high expectation now for women and what we deserve. And so all the women that play sports and they feel like they weren't getting what they deserved, I feel like they will be getting that now. Because now everybody's going to be looking at these other sports like, okay, well, they're getting this, so why aren't these girls getting this? Right. So I just hope that we open up doors for these women to be able to be able to take care of themselves without having to go and work another job and also be an athlete. Because I just never understood that. How are you professional, but you're still having to go and work to survive? Mm-hmm. So I'm just happy that, I really feel like this is going to push the envelope for that. And then all the little girls that have these dreams of being a professional athlete and being able to take care of their families like the men, like they now have that opportunity. So for me, it's always been bigger than me. It always will be bigger than me. And I'm excited about the next generation of athletes that now get to really, pretty much, eat the fruits of what we've done, with this league. And I'm just happy that I was, chosen to be a part of this and help to pioneer this whole thing. But yeah, I'm just excited about women being able to get what they deserve. It's about time.
Now, if there is a girl out there listening who's like, I want to be the next Santia, I mean, how do they follow your path? I mean, there's not widely like football teams available for them to practice and play on. I mean, they could be track athletes, but what do you have to do specifically to kind of get into this position or even try to potentially be in the league?
Well, first of all, football is a very tough sport. Like, we all know that. But being a woman that's playing this sport, you have to be very thick-skinned. You have to be able to mentally understand kind of like the X's and O's of football, and just being a student of the game. First of all, be a student of the game, and then physically make sure that you're doing what you need to do as well, meaning eating good, working out consistently, having other trainers that have played the game way longer than you, so that you can actually learn from them, and not just having like your best friend who never played football out there training with you, because y'all aren't going to get anywhere. So being able to humble yourself and allow somebody that has a lot more knowledge to teach you. And then, just having the mentality that if you want it, that you're going to go get it. No matter what the obstacles are, no matter what people are going to say, because everybody's not going to be happy that you play this sport. I have a lot of people that aren't happy now. But if you want it, then go get it and do whatever it takes to have it. And then as far as like how you get into this league, make sure that you have good film. So when you're playing flag football or you're playing rugby or whatever other sport that you're playing, that you have enough film to actually send to the league owners and the team owners, so that they can actually see what you can do. and make sure you go to the tryouts and things like that, because there are tryouts and there are combines and things like that. So just making sure that you're keeping up with what's happening with the league, so that when that opportunity comes, you're there. But yeah, the main thing that I can say to any little girl that wants to be in this position is, if you want this dream, you can have it, but you got to go get it. And it's gonna be a lot of obstacles, a lot of roadblocks. But if you want it, go get it.
You also run the Girls Can Do It Too Foundation. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit about your programs and the results that you're seeing.
So we actually have not officially started it. We were before all this stuff happened with the football contract and everything, but we are going to be launching it this summer. But pretty much with my foundation, I'm sorry. What it's going to consist of is camps. So I'm going to be doing speed and agility camps for girls all over the country, and teaching them the fundamentals of just how to actually become like a speed athlete. So teaching them like how to do ladder drills and how to do cone drills and things that we as little girls weren't ever taught or introduced to until we were much older. And I always felt like, having a twin brother and being able to be out there with him, like, they had so many opportunities to be great at a young age. They had all these camps, these training facilities. They had, men like ex-NFL players, ex-MLB players come in and talk to them about how exactly they got to where they got to. But when I was younger, I never one time had a female athlete come and talk to me about how to make it to be a professional athlete. I never had anybody that could help guide me or I could go and talk to. So I want to be that person for these little girls and tell them, like, for example, as a woman going into college, we have a lot more to worry about than men. We can get pregnant, we gain that extra weight, things like that. So they need somebody that can show them and tell them, like, hey, don't make this mistake. Get on birth control if you're going to be sexually active. Things that men don't have to worry about because they're men. So it's like, I want to help be that kind of that guide, I guess that person that guides them in the right direction. And so that with these camps, we're going to have Q&A so they can ask me whatever questions they want to ask. And we're going to have other professional women come in, athletes come in and talk to these girls as well. So it's going to consist of camps, speaking, and then I want to give away some scholarships to girls as well to go to college. So I'm excited about it.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait to see how it blossoms and flourishes. So keep us posted on that.
Definitely.
So favorite books, or really your favorite book? What is one book that you've read that has really changed your life?
Oh man. So I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee, so I've read all his books. But when it comes to social media, he is definitely someone that I look up to tremendously because he's very raw. He gives it to you straight, no chaser. And I like how passionate he is about pretty much motivating the youth that's already on social media to actually do something productive on social media. And I have, because I am I'm an influencer and I make every single dime from social media. I think having someone like him that I've been following for years, that has also, I've actually used some of his, the things that he says in his books for my own business, and seeing that actually come into fruition, it's amazing just how intelligent this guy is, and just how honestly, everything he's saying is true, even if it hurts somebody's feelings and things like that. And so I've been able to help other people that want to also flourish on social media through listening to him. So honestly, I think Gary Vee is definitely one of my biggest I guess idols when it comes to how I want to structure my business in the long run. But I've read so many good books in my life, to be honest. But I think the one that sticks out to me for sure is Gary Vee.
Yeah, Gary Vee is awesome. He's one of my favorites too. I've read quite
Yeah.
a few of his books as well, and watch all of his YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, how's your sleep? How many hours do you sleep every night?
Oh man. My sleep pattern definitely varies, which is not good. I would not recommend being like me when it comes to that. I get maybe I don't know, 5 to 6 hours of sleep, but I definitely, as an athlete, should be getting at least 8. So I'm working on that. I'm working on shutting my brain down, a few hours early, taking my phone and putting it under my bed or whatever I need to do. But yeah, I probably get 5 to 6 hours, but I definitely recommend everybody getting at least 8.
And what's a small thing you do each day that makes you happy?
Um, What do I do? I know this sounds so cliche, but working out makes me happy. It really does. Like being able to see like my training buddies and laugh with my teammates and stuff like that. I don't know. Like it's just something that makes me happy and just honestly just makes I don't know. It just makes it all worth it. Because I've built so many strong relationships through fitness and working out. And I just love it. Like it's just part of my life.
Now, playing a sport is tons of fun, but are there any other like group fitness activities you do to make fitness fun?
You know what? I'm actually about to start yoga. So I'm going to see how this goes. But I really don't do anything outside of, I think because I train so much, like I just don't even have energy to do anything. But I am looking for something that I can like, that isn't as intense. So of course, yoga is something that most athletes do, and I'm not the most flexible person. So I think this will be something that will not only be just like, relaxing, but also help me become a better athlete.
Well, we have a yoga event coming up, so if you're in town, I'm gonna have you come
Oh
to
yeah.
it.
I
Some of
need to
them.
be there.
Yeah. Okay. So your gym bag. What's one thing that's always in it?
Definitely my cleats. My
Okay.
cleats and my mouth guard. For because I just never know when I'm gonna have to play like a game of football or I gotta get on the field and do some type of drill. So I always have my cleats and I always have my mouth guard.
Okay. And if I were to look at your workout playlist, which songs would be on it?
Oh my gosh, my playlist is so weird. I have like gospel, country, pop, hip hop. I have like everything that you can think of, no matter how old or how young, is probably like in my playlist.
Oh, that's good. I like variety. I do.
I do, yeah, I do, I do.
Okay, now looking at you, people probably think that you never have a cheat day, that you just eat well all the time.
Oh
But
man.
when you do want to have a cheat day, what's something that you have to have?
Okay, so literally last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, I had cookies and cream ice cream.
Yeah.
So I am such a sugar person, but I don't know how I contain it because so for example, like my kryptonite is Starbucks.
Oh
Those
yeah.
mocha frappuccinos, I just cannot. I don't know. I think they put crack in that, to be honest, because I have to have Starbucks like at least once a week, or I feel like I'm dying. So like that's like my. I just it's my weakness. I can't get enough of Starbucks. I wish I could own one. Like I really do.
Right? Some stock options in it or something.
Right.
Well, okay, so say if you're heading on a flight
hmm
and you realize you forgot this beauty product at home, which like what is something that's gonna make you go all the way back home to get it enough time
Oh
for you?
man, my found no. It would have to be my eyeliner. I can wear. I don't have to wear anything else, but I have to have eyeliner on. Like that's my thing. If I don't have eyeliner on, I feel completely naked.
Okay.
So I have
Okay.
to have eyeliner for sure.
And what about deodorant? What's your favorite brand?
What is my favorite brand? Degree.
Okay.
Definitely Degree for sure.
All right. And when you hear the words pretty girls sweat, what do they mean to you?
You know what? That it actually aligns perfectly kind of with my brand. Because I tried to brand myself not only as this beastly athlete, but also as an athlete that is still very feminine. And I like to say, get you a girl that can do both. That can dress up, kill it in a dress, blah blah blah, but also someone that can go out there, kill it in the gym, knock some heads off on the field, dunks on somebody, juke somebody, whatever it is, that you can still be this pretty beautiful athlete, but also be someone that's out there killing it. And the perfect example of that, and she's my idol to this day, is FloJo. She
Yes.
was gorgeous, makeup, hair done, nails done, but couldn't nobody touch her on the track ever. To this day, she's still the fastest woman that ever did it.
Yep.
So it's like she has always been my idol, and that's who I've always looked up to.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, that's the main reason why we chose these words because so many girls aren't playing sports for that reason because they think it's too masculine or they can't be
hmm
themselves. And it's like, no matter if you're masculine, if you're not, if you're feminine, like you can play sports. So hopefully
Exactly.
all different categories of sport continue to change and like more girls feel like it's inclusive for them and they want to get involved because of incredible athletes like yourself. So
Thank you.
yeah. All right, so what's next for you?
Man, I have so much coming up. It's unfortunately it's a lot that I can't even talk about. But I'm gonna be doing some TV stuff, some more TV stuff. I'm gonna actually be doing some stuff for the combine this week. Um, I have a shoe line coming out. I have a clothing line coming out. And the rest I can't really talk about, but all I can say is just stay tuned on my page. I post everything that's happening, as far as like business and sports. So definitely keep up with everything that I'm doing. And my first exhibition game for the WFLA is actually May 6th in Vegas. So if you guys are somewhere near Vegas, definitely come out and support. It's going to be a lot of fun and everything. So yeah, and I'll definitely make sure I post my schedule for the season or the exhibition season so that you guys can know exactly where all my games are.
Please do. Please do. And if there's one last important thing that you could share with our audience, what would that be?
I would say to not put limitations on your life. I remember being told that you only need to be focused on one thing. When you're focused on two different things, that's just not possible. And I feel like I never listened to that because I literally, if I feel like I want to do something, I'm gonna figure out how to do it. So if you want, and like I said, the main thing that I'm gonna keep saying is if you want it, go get it, and that's just period. So yeah, that's what I would say.
And that's Santia Deck. Be sure to follow her on Instagram at TrackBaby001 and on Facebook at Santia D. And if you want more information about her career, head on over to queenofabs.com. Just one more thing before you take off. Do you want to get a short email from Pretty Girl Sweat every Monday and Friday that serves as a daily dose of all things inspiring and allows you priority access to our upcoming events? Just go to prettygirlsweat.com. That's prettygirls with an S, sweat.com. Drop in your email and you'll get the very next one. And if you sign up, you'll soon discover that there's no hood like sisterhood. Until next time, always remember that good things come to those who sweat.